so much for joining us during this momentary distraction of simple amusements and magic.
Well, happy Saturday, everyone, and welcome to Faust and Company on episode 21. It's good to see everyone. I hope you're doing well. If you're out there, I kind of saw a couple of faces out there. Kyle, Robert, hello to you out there. I see you have just tuned in. Dinah, I just seen that you tuned in as well. Thank you so much for taking your time to come out again just to watch. But I hope you guys are all off on a good start to this weekend. Thank you once again. If you're out there, please make a comment. I'll come out and say hello to you. But once again, thank you. So tonight we're going to meet someone from Cancun, Mexico, who's dropping by. He's a good friend of mine. His name is Charly D'Carlo. But before we get into that, we will get to him in just about a minute here. But on the last episode, if you missed it, Jordan Jonas threw a very, very amazing episode. It's still on my page. You can check that out. And I also asked that if you have a sizzle reel of some sort, like a promotional video, I love watching them. So you can DM them to me if you want me to play it. But today I'd like to feature Raven and Miggs, who a while back gave me a sizzle reel that they made. So tonight, this is their sizzle reel moment, and I hope you guys enjoy. Enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Raven and Miggs.
Raven, and together we are Slightly Mental. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful evening. We appreciate it.
And that was Raven and Miggs from the world famous Magic Castle, and that was their sizzle reel moment. Always a pleasure to see everyone's sizzle reel and see how they can get very creative. And that was Raven and Miggs. So thank you, Raven and Miggs, if you're watching. Also, once again, thank you for joining us today. And what I'm going to do now is introduce our featured guest of the evening, and he hails all the way from Cancun, Mexico. So our featured guest was 18 years old when he became a professional, and since then he has performed at Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and through Europe. And he's also performed at 5-star and 5-diamond resorts, and is also a regular performer on cruise liners. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a good friend of mine. Please, a round of threes in the comments, my dear friend, Charly D'Carlo. Charly, welcome.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for inviting me. So honored to be here again with you. Thank you.
It's an honor. And you know what? For people out there who don't know, I've had you when I first started live streaming, like right in the beginning of the pandemic, but it was a very, very different format. We literally only had 15 minutes to do a show, and we went right off. But today we take some time to get to know you, Charly. How are you, and how are things in Cancun?
Thank you very much. Well, I'm fine. Thank you very much. I'm healthy. I have food on the table, a roof over my shoulder, my head, and a lovely wife with whom to share it. It's, family still healthy, so I think good. Yeah, all good. God's been kind to me. And things in Cancun are getting pretty well, actually. We are, since we're a touristic destination, yes. All resorts have been opening, like gradually following health protocols with COVID and all that stuff. So everything's pretty safe, pretty neat. I can come visit.
Absolutely. And you know what I'm planning on too? It's been on the list, Charly. So, you know, I hope that now that I know you're out there, definitely, and people who are out there watching too, Cancun, if they're out there, please look you up. And you mentioned earlier, Charly, that you were at least doing some strolling or magic at Planet Hollywood in Cancun. Tell us about that. Yeah,
it's actually a brand new resort per se. It's located not in the strip zone of Cancun, not in the hotel zone. It's located like on the opposite side.
Right.
Not in Riviera Maya either. It's like it's called Costa Mujeres. So it's brand new resorts in there, and Planet Hollywood opened up, if I'm not mistaken, sometime between July and August last year.
Right.
But it opened with like 30% occupancy, and little by little has been starting to operate with more, you know. And I've been doing some magic in there, strolling around, socializing with guests, a few on and off like quick stage happenings, and it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun.
Well, I'm glad to hear that at least, you know, some parts of the world are slowly opening up. I know it's slowly opening up here in California, and I'm kind of excited. But also another note, had this pandemic never happened, me and you probably would have never met either. And we have a mutual friend, Jeff McBride, who is a legend, by the way, in the magic community. He connected us two together. And although we've never met, we've met virtually. And, you know, it is one of the most fortunate things, at least under these circumstances.
It is true. The saying that God works in mysterious ways. I firmly believe it. Sometimes I dislike it because, come on, let's face it. It's not our way. It's
right.
His
way. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But hey, there's always a benefit to it. In this case, us meeting.
Charly, we didn't have that much time to get to hear your story. And I know that with every magician that I've come across, everyone has an origin story.
Oh, yeah.
Do you mind sharing how you got into magic?
Absolutely. It's an honor. It started when I was 13 years old in school, actually. I was introduced to magic with another fellow student, and he did this card trick. And I was like, wow, it's impossible. How did that work? And then he was kind enough to teach it to me, and I was like, huh. So I can do it? He's like, yeah, sure.
Yes.
So I learned it. And from there, in high school, I learned another trick. And I don't know, I like them. So whenever I had the chance, I would do those two tricks, you know?
Yeah.
And but funny enough, the card trick was the trick that actually helped me get the favor of the girl that became my very first girlfriend.
Oh, is that right?
I mean, it's not that magical, really. It's actually quite dull, but silly. But hey, it did the trick. And 20 years later, here's the real magic. 20 years later, now she became my wife. So, yay.
That's true magic, my friend. I love hearing stories like that, which leads me to ask you a question. And I'm sure a lot of people don't know that you are a student of Jeff McBride and of the Magic and Mystery School in Las Vegas. And for people out there who don't know who he is, could you describe who he is and what he has taught you in magic?
Well, I don't know if you've watched Game of Thrones, you know, how the lords have several names that describe them, you know. I think Jeff McBride has many, many names. I mean, I think he's the ultimate mentor.
Yeah.
He is, honestly, his school of magic is real life Hogwarts.
Yeah.
You know, and I will not be surprised if Hogwarts is inspired by Jeff McBride. He was introduced to me by another mentor that I had here in Mexico. Because I was thirsty for knowledge. I was thirsty to find my way in magic.
Yes.
And he introduced me to Jeff. And Jeff, he said, yeah, sure. Here's information, all stuff. I can help you. I can mentor you. I can coach you. And I was like, really? That easy? Then I started Googling him. And I realized who he was. So for all our viewers in there, to put it in a more, in a bigger perspective,
yes,
Jeff McBride is to magic and magicians what Grand Jedi Master Yoda is to the Jedi and the Force.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. I think, and there's no exaggeration in that, because he's gotten an award from probably one of the most prestigious magic organizations in the world for theory and philosophy in magic, which is FISM. And it just shows that he's a wealth of knowledge and that as a performer, he's a legend. But as a teacher, he is even a more greater. Charly, you mentioned something in what you said. You were looking to find a way in magic. And I always remember what Eugene said, Eugene Berger, and he always said that magic is a way. And so when you say that, what do you mean by you were looking for a way and you look towards magic to find that way? Could you elaborate on what that means to you?
Yeah. I've always, since I was a little kid, I've always liked to entertain. I've always been like the jokester in the house. When I was a kid, I would like tell the jokes, do like little funny sketches and stuff.
Yeah.
But when magic found me, it was like something touched me. I was like, I want to pursue this. This is who I am, you know. Yes. And I was trying to find my style, you know. Yeah. Something that was very, very how can I say, that drilled into my mind was, I do not want to copy. I don't want to be a copycat, you know.
Yes.
I want to find my own style, my own techniques, my own stuff, you know, to be inspired. If there is something that I like, another magician, for example, had a routine, okay, I would see a way of taking that inspiration and then transform it into a routine of my own, you know?
Yeah.
And that is something that I found with Jeff. Jeff, I can truly say this, he did not spoon feed me. He did not tell me what I wanted to hear. He told me what I needed to hear. He showed me what I needed to hear, and he helped me get inspiration into finding the path. And he told me how to walk the path.
Yes.
Whether I walked it or not, then it's on me.
Yes.
But yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great representation of his teaching style. You're not paying him to blow butterflies, you know, in your face. In fact, he's gonna tear you down and sculpt you back up to where you should be. Because I think what he's trying to do is, and I think what you're saying is he's showing you how to find your authentic expression in magic. Now, you obviously are a student of Jeff's and the Magic and Mystery School, and you're aware of the path from trickster to sorcerer to oracle and sage. And all those archetypes mean a different thing. Would you categorize yourself as either being a trickster, a sorcerer, or oracle or sage? And if you do, why?
Wow.
I told you we were going to get deep.
That is a good one. Yeah. I think in a way we all have a part of trickster in ourselves, but it starts to evolve, you know? I think right now I'm in some part between sorcerer and sage, maybe, you know? Because the magic right now that I've been working on, that I've been developing, it's a magic where I do not need to say I am a magician.
Yes.
But because of what I do, is that they know I'm a magician. They know I'm a mage, for example, you know?
Yeah.
And it's stuff that I'm doing with like ordinary stuff in at any given moment, you know, I could potentially, in reunions or gatherings, potentially just say, "Hey, do me a favor. Can I borrow your phone?" You know, so they let me use the phone. It's like, oh, nice. It's got a little light. You know, if you click it, it works fine. And I don't know if you can see it from here, but all of a sudden, you could actually take the light. And then put it back on. And it's in that moment where they go, oh, there you go. It's in that moment where they go like,
wonderful,
what's happening? So it's that kind of mystery sorcery that I like.
Charlie, you mentioned that, you know, magic is a journey. And I know prior to, you know, us going on live, you mentioned that your magic was one way and you were shifting towards another. And I some would call it rebranding, but some people would call it evolving. Are you evolving in magic as you continue to? And please explain.
Oh yeah. When I started with little games and stuff, and I was being inspired by the local magicians in here, which were terrific in here, and I learned so much from them, and we're very good friends with most of them. But then again, I felt I was copying, you know, and I wanted to develop an own style. Yeah. Meeting Jeff, traveling and doing stuff has allowed me to evolve into that type of magic, you know, where it's impromptu, where you can do things at any time, at any moment. Literally, it's a case of walking in. Oh, you're a magician, so show me something. It always happens, you know. Yeah. And you could actually perform something on the spot, and that's the type of magic that I like. The one that can happen at any time. given that idea with the stage show that I do, I started moving towards taking that organic style of presentation,
Yes.
taking it to the stage now, where I can do things with stuff people relate to, people know, even people things that they have borrowed, that they have that I can borrow.
Yeah.
And my stage performance, my illusions performance, has now become one where I don't have any props on stage. Usually the classic stage illusion show had like the big cases, the big apparatuses and stuff.
Yes.
I've managed to create something that does not require the big apparatus, which gives you a really good effect. There's one time you can actually see it in my YouTube videos. There's one where I cut myself in half.
Yeah.
I used to do it with an assistant, but then again, she didn't make it after the cutting.
Yes.
No, and that type of thing, you know, that it's organic, it's evolving, it's new, it's less is more. You know, so that kind of evolution has happened in my career, in my case.
Now I know you have a show, The Magic Factor.
Okay.
Is this going to be something different than that, or is it going to be the same theme, The Magic Factor?
The Magic Factor, I have two versions of it. I have the Magic Factor Live, which is still intimate, it's lounge, it's dynamic, it's got music, it's got a touch of humor that for some reason I cannot get rid of. I'm Mexican, so we are very jolly, happy people. We make jokes out of anything. Trust me, anything. And that's just me. And that show involves interaction with audiences, following that organic part.
Yes.
And then I have another show called Illusion, which is a solo illusions show.
Oh, wow.
Which is the one where I cut myself in half. I have a partner that I remove her head off, but that's another story.
You know, Charlie, you mentioned that you do illusions. So I know, following you, that you also you're a regular on cruise liners.
Oh yeah.
And I'm interested. As a magician, how did you get involved on cruise liners and shifting your performances to that? And what was your experience like doing that?
It was great. I mean, it still is great. I started as a cruise staff, which is activities, like an entertainer, like social activities, hosting shows and stuff. Yeah. But then again, I shifted to be like a magician / cruise staff. So I would do both, you know. So I would present my show and also do some of the regular activities in there, which allowed me actually to create a really, really good bond, a really good program with the guests, because they would see me socializing with them, but then they would see me on stage, and next time they would see me, it'd be a case of, oh yeah, I like your magic. Hey, can you do something for us?
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And then we would do like the organic part. It was great because the ships allowed me to keep thinking on more stuff that I could do and use while in there with their environment. Right. So literally, the whole ship was my stage. It was a great experience.
That's great. Now, is that something that you plan on doing anytime soon in wake of the pandemic? Have you heard of any news that they're going to be opening up that sort of venue anytime soon?
Yeah, they are slowly starting to open up. And as far as I know, and trust me, this is my first hand in there, inside of a cruise ship, it is the cleanest, healthiest environment you could possibly check. Prior pandemic, the safety and health sanitation standards were high.
Yes.
Right now, they're even higher. Right. And that I know by firsthand. We've kept in touch with with some of the crew members. We've kept in touch with the corporate. They've been sending us information in regards to the operation, the new stuff happening, and it is a completely safe environment. And yes, we are planning to, my wife and I, we're planning to go back into ships as soon as there is the first chance, that because they're doing it gradually, so little by little. So whenever it's our turn, of course, we're going to go.
Is there a particular cruise liner that you normally would be found on for people out there watching if they happen to take that cruise? Is there a particular cruise liner that you can mention?
If you allow me to mention it, of course, yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Royal Caribbean, Caribbean. That's where I'm at right now. And there's a slogan that I gotta be honest. At first, I thought it was a little cheesy.
Yeah.
But once you are in there, you realize that it's 100% truth. Loyal to Royal. That's a fact. They are awesome. They are amazing. Great cruise line.
Well, it's great to know that they live up to their name. No, on with this project. We talked about this project. You have quite a few things going on in your career, and you mentioned that you are now part of Abra TV, and I'm going to pull this up as a thing. Could you give us a glimpse of what that's about and who it's involving? Abra TV. I've heard of it just a little bit, but then when I heard that it was someone by the name of Tim Wise who founded it, then I kind of keyed in. And so could you give us a roundabout summary of what that is, Charlie?
Of course, yeah. Abra.tv, amazing. It's I don't know the right words for it in English. A streaming TV channel, I guess, would be the words. And it's so far 27 channels, 26, 27 channels. I know that some channel 26, by the way. So find me, Abra.tv, channel 26. I got some stuff there. But also other magicians, Legends of Magic, have their videos and part of their shows in there as well. Some of them are free to watch. Others, depending on who you watch and what you watch, could have like a little pay-per-view type of thing, which is nothing really. In order to support the magic, support the business. And check it out. Tim Wise, it's the creator of it, and it is amazing because you can actually see, as I mentioned, Legends of Magic. Jeff McBride, one of them, he's got his own channel there. Lance Burton, which is also an inspiration for me for some parts, has his own channel in there. Many other magicians that I'm pretty sure that if you, my friends, watching this, go into Abra.tv, I'm sure you're going to have a blast. And yeah, Mr. Edward Underwood, you are correct. Abra.tv is the future for TV for magicians. Definitely. Well said. Yeah, so if you're out there, check out Abra TV. You're on channel 26. 26, yes. And I was just looking at it, and there are quite a few names there, Charlie, with you. I mean, the big names in magic there. So I'm going to research more and learn more about it, because right now it seems like it's free, as far as I know, and you can kind of log in on everyone's channel and check it out. Yeah, there are some other parts. For example, in my case, I'm going to release shortly a series of magic tutorials. Easy to do magic, so that you can check it out. It's gonna have a little fee in it. That's for people who are really interested in learning more of the craft. And also in there, I will have some videos of my tour when I was in Europe. So you can see me doing street magic, real-time locations, real reactions. Yes. No paid actors and more stuff. So Braden Daniels wants to, he was actually a guest on our show, but he's asking, Abra.tv is the actual website that it's on. Am I correct, Charlie? Yes, that's correct. Abra.tv. Yes. Yes. That's and I'm not sure if it's an app, but it's 1B, Travis. So not 2. But I think right now it's just on a website. I really don't know, so I don't think I should be saying this, but I really don't know if it's an app yet. I would not be surprised if eventually it's going to be, But as far as I know so far, no. However, I can find out for you and let you know, definitely.
Absolutely.
Send me a message, and I'll keep you informed.
Yeah. So Edward says Tim Wise runs it. That's correct. And Tim is probably one of the nicest guys you'll ever come across. And if you ever see him performing, he does this wonderful genie act, and with fire and everything like that. Now, Charly, I have to ask you, and we've definitely, I love talking to fellow performers. And one of the things that kind of came across my mind, and we talked about this prior, is, you know, you started magic when you were 18 years old. I mean, not just as a hobby. I mean, you became a professional at 18. And I think that is different than someone just kind of dabbling at first. This, you know, you're looking at it as a career. I have to ask you though, what draws you to magic? I mean, there has to be something that is almost borderline obsessive for you, Charly. What is that?
Here's the thing, so we can line it up and you guys can understand this part, where it comes from. I started performing. I started in the entertainment business when I was 18. I started magic professionally to look for it, to learn it, when I was 24. But not when I was 33. 33 years old, that I took it up professionally. I said, okay, forget about everything to the side. I'm going to live off this when I was 33-ish. Yeah, and I got my inspiration, the passion for it, because as I mentioned, when I was 18 years old, I began in the entertainment business. I began with, in resorts, I would perform, I'll be dancing, I'd be singing in a few stuff. Now, I do have a terrible voice, but I managed to, I would play the part of the guy that did not know how to sing, so the character would compensate. Oh, and it was that passion of performing in resorts and hotels here in Cancun that by the time I was getting older, I was like, you know, my body cannot handle all of this dancing and jumping and being in the sun and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was not until I was 24, 25 when I saw a on-stage magic show. And I remember I learned a few tricks, and I would do a few tricks before.
Right.
And it was that thing that just burned inside of me, that desire burned inside of me. And I was like, I can do that. I want to pursue what I know, expand it. And that thrill of keeping entertaining people, that feeling of making people smile and surprise them, is just something that keeps me alive, you know?
Would you call this a serious hobby or a lifestyle, Charly? What would you call this?
I would call it a hobby that is my lifestyle.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Look, there's a question out there from our friend Braden Daniels. He says, what has Charly been practicing or working on lately? I know that you've been working on something. Do you mind showing us something, Charly?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I've been contemplating the beauty of what God has created with all of us. I think things are connected somehow. We talked earlier that if it had not been for this pandemic, you and I would not have met. You know, right. we are both brothers in magic, thanks to Jeff McBride.
Yes.
It's thanks to all of what's happened that I'm here right now. And following that line on what I've been practicing those type of connections that allows me to see that nothing is random. Everything happens for a purpose. We were created for a purpose as well. And finding that purpose and meeting with people is what puts us together. For example, let's work on something in there with the people that are watching us.
Yes.
I would like for someone to probably think of. Okay, let's make this really tough. Think of a suit of cards. Anyone in there, and type it in. One of the suits, either clubs, spades, diamonds, hearts. First answer in there is the one that we're going to take.
Okay,
First
so there's
answer, somebody, anyone, just type the answer. One
so
of
if
the
anyone's out there, there is a bit of a, there's like a 3-second delay, but if anyone's out there, Charlie's asking for a suit, any suit. If anyone's out there, type it in the comment box, and the first one that anyone types in we'll use. Is that what you want, Charlie?
Yes. That's precisely what I want. I think we have some. Oh, there it is.
There you go. Braden responded with hearts.
That's pretty good. Hearts. That's beautiful. To continue with this, let's think of. Again, anybody else, and for it to seem fair, let's ask somebody other than Braden Daniels, which, by the way, Braden, thank you so much. But let's ask somebody else to make it fair for everyone.
Okay.
Think of a number from 1 to 12. Considering that number 1 is the ace, 11, 12 are jack and queen. Why not? Let's put in 13, the king. Just type in a number. First person type in that number, that's the number we're going to go with.
Okay, so any number between 1 and 13.
13,
okay.
Yeah.
I have Travis here.
Oh, Travis, he typed in the number 7. Nice. All right. Why are we doing this? I believe thoroughly that everything has a purpose. Everything follows a connection. There is nothing that happens randomly. Everything is somehow connected, okay? And I don't know if you noticed, but at the beginning of the show, and all throughout this show, there's been a glass in there on the table. Even if you watch this later on, you watch the replay, you will see that that glass has been standing there all this time. Now you're probably wondering what this glass is. Okay, it's super simple. This glass, as magicians, obviously we find our inspiration from dreams, from things that happen, so, little visions that we have. It could happen at any time. And since inspiration and images happen at any time, in my nightstand, actually, I have this little post-it, I don't know what you call it, pad, where sometimes I write down stuff. Now, before this, for some reason, I had something in my mind and I wrote it down. Now, bear with me, it was dark. I did not see what I was writing, and but I managed just to write something, fold it up, and just put it on the side. As I told you before, nothing in this world is a coincidence. Nothing, absolutely nothing happens randomly. There's always a purpose for it. Our audience has helped us out in here, and they gave me a suit, which was hearts, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you, Braden. Yeah, thank you for the friendly reminder. Yeah. And also, I believe Travis gave us a number, which was 7. Is that correct?
That's correct there.
Remember, nothing in this world is a coincidence, and there's always a purpose for everything. And I believe that that 7 of hearts is what was written in here all along, leading us to the fact that this, my friends, was never a coincidence. This was made to happen.
Oh, bravo, Charlie. A round of applause if you enjoyed a round of 3s in the comments for Charlie. Braden is already giving you 3s, Charlie. Thank you for sharing your magic. Now, I have to ask again, just to circle back to what we were talking about. Do you have any shows coming up that you want to plug in here and I know that you mentioned that you're transitioning to this style of magic. Is this what we can expect from seeing your magic in the future here?
Yes, definitely. This and more as well. I'm working right now on, well, I was going to go for a season to Croatia. Sadly, that had to be postponed for next year because of, I think in Europe they're having other types of sanitation protocols, which is completely understandable and respectable. Their house, their rules. But I'm really excited that will happen next year. But as of what happens this year, I'm working on a Zoom show. I've been doing Zoom shows for private events. However, I am working on a Zoom show that's going to be open to the public. I will give you all the details once it happens, as in the cost of the tickets and all that stuff to watch it, to watch the Zoom. And here in Cancun as well, I'm joining another company that produces shows to keep performing my long length, my full featured show in resorts as well. So I will definitely send you footage and pictures of all of that.
So Charly, I'm going to put down your website there for anyone interested, DicarloMagic.com. And then also you have a Facebook. So if anyone's interested, give Charly a follow on The Magic Factor by Charly D'Carlo. And I also know that you do a YouTube channel and you have a lot of footage on there. But what I would like to highlight too, and also you have an Instagram there. For everyone out there watching, if you haven't heard already, Charly is going to be part of Abra.tv. And he's going to be placing a lot of his footage on there. And I look forward to following you on there as well, Charly. So I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to many of your new projects in the future.
Thank you so much. Oh, and I also have a TikTok. I just forgot. I opened it up not so long ago. I think it's a generational thing because I'm just getting started with this TikTok thing. So I have a few videos. Follow me as well. TikTok. I'm just Charly D'Carlo. Charly D'Carlo. Follow me on TikTok if you can. And all the videos are open for collaboration as well. If you want to do something with the video, hook me up. We can collaborate and have fun together, creating magic together. Absolutely. I'm open for it.
Charly, we're not done yet, but I would love to ask you some questions that we actually started with one person who assisted in the magic, Braden Daniels. I've been asking some questions, and I hope that you don't mind participating, if that's okay. Is it okay?
Yeah, hit me.
And so Braden says, thank you, Charly and Chris. Thank you, Braden, for tuning in once again. But Charly, these sets of questions were actually date back to the Victorian era, and it was inspired by a man named Marcel Proust. And it was a game. It was a Victorian game that you would write answers down to questions in a book, and it was called the Confession Album. But it was made famous by a man that I admire and really look up to and idolize, by a man named James Lipton. And you might know who that is. James Lipton was the host of Inside the Actors Studio, and he recently passed away. And he made these questions very famous and asked famous actors these questions. And really, it's just a look into your life. And these questions are really meant to be asked throughout a person's life and not just, one time. And we hope that you can answer these and maybe answer them later on down the road. But this is to keep in the tradition of James Lipton, and I hope that everyone out there enjoys. So let us begin, Charly. This is what I call the Lipton questions. And by the way, if people out there notice that there's like a connection problem, I know that Facebook is throwing me these messages saying that the connection is bad. So I hope everyone is still tuning in. But be that it may, Charly, these are the Lipton questions. Charly,
I'm nervous.
The first question that I have to ask you is, what is your favorite magic word?
Magic word?
Yes.
I think it's what? Because I've caught myself using it a lot, even when we're doing something and they get like, I go like, what? As in, I amaze myself as well, but I guess, yeah. What?
Charly, what is your least favorite magic word?
It'll be while performing, now that you mention it, it bugs me when I catch myself saying it and others. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. It's not so much of an enchantment or spell word, but it's like, I mean, it's implicit that they're going to do you a favor. So it's just...
The third question here is, what turns you on in magic?
Stuff that seems impossible to do because it challenges me to do it.
Wonderful. The next question is, what turns you off in magic?
A poorly executed effect. My first mentor told me that there are no bad magic effects. There are only bad presentations.
Well said. What sound or noise in magic do you love?
Other than the applause, the silence prior to the applause.
Oh, wonderful. Charly, what sound or noise in magic do you hate?
Balloon twisting. It gives me the...
Oh, you might get some responses from that later on.
Yeah.
But honest answer.
Yeah.
Charly, what is your favorite cuss word?
My favorite what? Sorry?
Your favorite swear word?
Oh, swear word, curse word. In Spanish or English?
Either.
Well, I think the S word, S-H-I-T, is, I don't know if this is PG, this is just PG, but S-H-I-T is like my favorite one if I ever have to say it. And oh, Earl, thank you. I don't hate balloons though. I hate the noise. Just the noise. I love
just the noise.
just the noise. And in Spanish, I have several. Depending on my mood. Yeah, I'm more of a feeling kind of guy.
Charly, what profession outside of your own would you like to attempt?
Luchador.
Could you tell the audience out there what exactly? I think I know what it is, but yeah. Could you explain?
A wrestler, luchador. In Mexico, lucha libre, wrestling, is it's part of our culture, it's part of our tradition. We grow up with it. So the masks and everything. I even gave Jeff, because he collects masks.
Yes.
He's a master of masks. I even gave him a luchador mask. He wore it and stuff. He was awesome. So if I hadn't been a magician, I think I would have been a luchador, a wrestler.
Wonderful. What profession would you not like to do?
Oh, I have one, yes. Either bar or restaurant waiter. And here's why. Those guys are extremely hard-working people.
Yes.
They have to pay attention on the table, and then another one. What did they get? What did they not get? Get the right order, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes they're very underestimated, and something I could not do because it's way too tough for my skills.
And finally, Charly, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear from God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Well, I believe in it. And based on what I've studied and read, I'm pretty sure he will say, "Welcome home, my son. We've been waiting for you."
Well said, Charlie. We appreciate you taking the time to answer these questions inspired by James Lipton. And I truly, truly appreciate your honesty. And, you know, Charlie, I'd love to have you come back as a guest and really, once again, later on down the road, possibly answer these questions again, because I'd be interested in seeing if there's any change or if things didn't change. But Charlie, I have to ask you, we always leave it to the audience to end the show with either a positive note or a message. Is there something that you would like to close the show out with?
Definitely, yes. Here's a little metaphor that I was working on. Well, I was thinking about it and sort of coming to mind. I nearly knocked out a cable. Coming to mind and all that stuff. We have been lately, this past year, in a place where there was a little bit of darkness.
Yes.
As the lights turned off somehow, you know? And it was in this darkness that we had trouble of seeing the light, okay? And speaking of darkness, oh, some lights just turned off in here.
Oh.
And oh, it's getting a little dark in here. But funny enough, if you follow me, I will show you something. There's nothing to fear with the dark. Why? Because with the darkness, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. And sometimes we, with this light, feel a bit, how can I say, scared, because all of a sudden we see shadows that we didn't think we could see. We see shadows that scare us. But there's nothing to fear from those shadows, simply because the shadows are merely a reflection of who we are. Now, it's important that we understand and we embrace and learn who we are. Because once we figured out who we are, the light will reflect it, and that shadow will become something magical. Watch this. Aha. And the shadows can reflect beauty. And the good thing is that that beauty can eventually become reality. So this is my gift to you. Everything that happens, happens for a reason. Embrace it. Learn from it. And most of all, never stop believing in magic. Chris, thank you so much for having me. God bless you all. And I'll see you later.
Thank you so much, Charlie. It was a pleasure to have him. I hope everyone out there enjoyed it on this Saturday. I can't thank him enough. My name is Chris Herren as Faust. I do hope you enjoyed. And that was our featured guest of the evening, Charly D'Carlo. And we hope to see you here once again, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night. Have a good Saturday. And we will see you next week. Good night, everyone.